WWE working with New Japan Pro Wrestling? Huge question mark. We're going to talk about that plus so much more big news in today's video. Don't forget, we're giving away this championship belt at 100,000 subscribers. So if you want a chance to win, click subscribe. All right, y'all. First things first, we got to talk about this. Dolph Ziggler wasn't the only person to debut in New Japan Pro Wrestling. Matt Riddle has also joined New Japan Pro Wrestling. He appeared on the screen yesterday, or technically this morning, for New Japan New Year Dash. And he wants Hiroshi Tanahashi, and this is a very interesting challenge. Matt Riddle issued a challenge against Hiroshi Tanahashi, who recently beat Zack Sabre Jr. for the NJPW World TV Championship. There's really no timetable on when this match is set to happen. Some people believe it could be taking place at Battle of the Valley, which would be a very big matchup for Battle of the Valley. Look, here's the thing. I've mentioned this, pretty often. Matt Riddle, he is definitely in the headlines for a lot of the wrong reasons. There's obviously a lot of negativity surrounding Matt Riddle. But Matt Riddle is a very good performer. So if we're just judging wrestling on its own, Matt Riddle versus Tanahashi will be an interesting matchup because Matt Riddle can still go, and the jury is still out on Tanahashi. If you guys aren't a fan of New Japan Pro Wrestling, Tanahashi is the new president of the company, but he remains an active performer for the company. Obviously, Tanahashi is a legend. I don't think anybody will really disagree with that. But it's not like he still goes at the same rate that he once did. You know what I mean? So it's an interesting matchup. I believe this is going to take place at Battle of the Valley. New Japan, I personally enjoyed what I saw from New Japan this week. But what's interesting is in the country of Japan, marijuana possession and usage is illegal. So Matt Riddle fighting against Tanahashi at Battle of the Valley could make a lot more sense because that's going to be taking place in San Jose. But I want to know what you guys think. Matt Riddle showing up to New Japan Pro Wrestling should be very interesting. Is this a one-time thing? Is this going to be something that leads to more? Obviously, a lot of people will have their own thoughts, and I want to hear what you guys think as well. Guys, we talked about Camille joining WWE. We talked about WWE having a lot of interest in Camille, and the potential for her to join is there. Now Dave Meltzer is reporting that Camille is expected to join WWE, but a big update to this story is that Camille is expected to start in NXT. Now, the reason why I specifically want to talk about this is because WWE bringing Camille into NXT, which, if you don't watch NXT, you might not understand this, but the NXT women's booking is very significantly good. Shawn Michaels and the NXT staff are putting women all over their show. This is not an issue where they need women. I think this is more of WWE's ability to kind of get people acclimated to their system, right? We saw this with Dragon Lee. Dragon Lee came into WWE, not a very long stint in NXT, but Dragon Lee came into NXT, got a couple wins, got a couple losses, really just there to learn the WWE style and get used to WWE's production and time cues and stuff like that. And for Camille, this would be a very big opportunity because, let's just face it, WWE is levels above NWA. There is obviously some stuff for her to learn, especially when it comes to the WWE style. But Camille joining NXT makes a lot of sense. And the cool thing is there's a lot of matchups and storylines that they could go with because the booking of the women is already so incredibly strong. Now, I kind of wanted to point this out too. I talked about this in my live stream with Billy. I feel like Camille is somebody who fits the WWE system, the look that they're looking for, all that, right? Which is good. But also at the same time, TNA just lost Deonna Purrazzo. TNA might be losing, they might be losing even more talent to AEW and WWE. It would have been nice to see TNA pick up some big free agents. And obviously, Camille was one of them that could have been a big boost for the women's division. So, just kind of curious to see how all of this plays out, but Camille's not the only one expected to go to NXT. Giulia is also expected to go to NXT. We've been talking a lot about Giulia and the potential WWE signing. Look, at New Japan, a lot of people are talking about Riddle and Dolph Ziggler, and a lot of people are saying, like, those are great signings or those are great debuts, right? Giulia coming to America, let alone coming to WWE, is massive. And I think a lot of people need to understand, especially from Stardom, we're going to see a lot of talent from Stardom come to America. We've already seen it before. I think we're going to get another wave of them. But Giulia coming to WWE is a real test for the WWE. You know, Triple H and Nick Khan want to change the perception of foreign talent in the WWE. And they've already started a lot of that with Santos and Dragon Lee. And, you know, I think that's a fantastic thing. But of course, you know, in order to make talent appear differently, you can't do the typical Vince McMahon stereotype booking. And sometimes, you know, WWE in the past was at a big fault for that. Look at Triple H and what he's done with Shinsuke Nakamura in the last few months. It's a complete rebranding, a repackage. They've made him look a lot more credible. So Giulia is expected to go to NXT according to Dave Meltzer. Also, the belief is that Giulia is expected to take some time off before coming to WWE. This way she could learn a little bit more English before she arrives. Now, me personally, this is just a personal opinion. I don't think knowing English is that big of a deal. I think Giulia, I've seen videos of her talking English. I've seen interviews and stuff like that. She could talk pretty good for English, right? It's not her main language, but I think she does fine with it. But also at the same time, too, I'm more worried about presentation. You got to let Giulia come into WWE with the same presentation, with the same attire, the same clothing, the same hair. That's what makes her so unique. She has the aura. But also the belief, just like Camille, the idea is that Giulia will go to NXT first. I don't expect these women to be there very long at all, to be honest with you. I think WWE knows exactly what they're going to do. But I'll tell you guys just off the rip, Giulia and Camille are great pickups for the WWE. Both are great talent for two different reasons. I hope Triple H gets it right with Giulia. And the reason why is because WWE and New Japan potentially could be going into a partnership. So just the other day, we talked about WWE potentially working with Stardom. Now it appears that WWE does have some interest in working with New Japan Pro Wrestling. Dave Meltzer has reported that Triple H and WWE President Nick Khan have been looking at another Japanese ally. Meltzer wrote that there has been talks internally of them trying to make another go with New Japan now that Hiroshi Tanahashi is president. AEW and New Japan obviously have their partnership. They have the Forbidden Door pay-per-view. New Japan obviously has a partnership with Impact. Is it that big of a deal if New Japan works with WWE? Honestly, no. Just having a talent exchange really is the big thing. I don't think, maybe I'm completely wrong here, but I don't think WWE needs to do a Forbidden Door pay-per-view or anything like that. I don't think WWE needs to play nice with all these other companies. They're obviously doing very good on their own, the way that business is. But the idea of having allies around the world obviously help for NXT Global, obviously. But let's just take that out of the equation. Let's just pretend NXT Global isn't a plan. The reason why I am a very big fan of the idea of working relationships, it's largely due to the fact that rosters are bloated, right? So if you have talent in your company who want to work for New Japan, but they don't want to leave WWE, you can send them out to New Japan once in a while and let them do their thing. And when you have the Royal Rumble or when you have Survivor Series War Games and you want to have a special mystery guest, you know, you can call somebody from New Japan and bring them in. I'm totally cool with something like that. I don't think you need to do Forbidden Door. I don't think you need to do any of that. Those are all pluses, but I think if you're going to work with another company, just the ability to help each other out when needed, it makes a lot of sense. And look, there's a lot of talent who potentially would go to WWE if they had some sort of partnership. And I'm sure for some free agents, that definitely hurts their chances, right? Will Ospreay chose AEW. He still gets to live in the UK, but also, if he wants to go work New Japan because of AEW, he can do so. And I think this kind of change can help WWE. And that's just me taking NXT Global out of the equation. But trust me when I say I fully believe that NXT Japan is something that they want to do, hence the reason why they're trying to open the doors a little bit with NJPW. But that is what it is. WWE's got to change the way people perceive foreign talent in the company as well. So by bringing in Giulia and by changing the way that we look at Io Sky and Asuka and Kairi Sane and all of these people who may have been wronged in the past, this is the way to fix it. You gotta take the booking serious, and then the rest of the stuff can come, which obviously I think we're starting to see.